Alrighty, guys. How do you like those playing games so far? We're recording this on the day that the Heat and the Sixers are about to play, and then I'm gonna get my hopes up when the Bulls face the Hawks, only to be let down when they beat the Hawks but lose to the Sixers or the Heat. So I'm already prepared myself for that. Um, Diego, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I know you're still in the boot, but feeling great.
Yeah. Well, now in a boot. I just got the boot on Monday, so I can walk around. Definitely a big step up. Going to work and seeing other people besides my roommates is very nice. So there's some dubs out here. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. People, civilization. You're living
Yeah.
in civilization now.
Socialization with others.
Yep.
Pretty big dub. Also, I dislike zone. That's all. I just saw the Miami Heat do it, and I just never like zone. That's it.
I think it's
That's
cool when I think what was the game? I think the Bulls were playing the Knicks. I was watching the game Sunday, and they pulled out of boxes of elbows on one possession,
Oh yeah, I
and
saw
that
that.
was like if the Bulls won, that would have been like Billy Donovan would have been praised as like the greatest coach of all time because
That's a
he
good
just
idea.
brought like a new defensive scheme like just randomly, and like
Hmm.
Brunson was cooking all the way up to that fourth quarter, and that
Yeah.
was such a great game. That was such a like the Bulls had nothing to play for, but they still like brought the
Hmm.
Knicks to overtime, and then
Oh
like on
yeah,
the edge of my seat. Th- This
that
is
was a
this is
great game.
this is what it's like being a Bulls fan, man. Like when you have low expectations of them, they suddenly play out of their mind, and
Hmm.
then when you have high expectations of the team, they just let you down. It's
Be like
like
that.
whether it's in their control or not. So like I feel like they could beat anybody, but I don't feel like they can win 2 games in a row. It's just never consistent with this team. So, but
Yeah.
that was a great game. I enjoyed
It
watching
was a
the
good game.
Knicks
I
and the
watched the
Bulls.
end of it, the fourth and the overtime. That was good. That was definitely worth watching. I wasn't expecting it to go to OT.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I like the way and Caruso. Like, I'm so glad he's on the Bulls. I used
Hmm.
to hate him watching the
Yeah.
Lakers because I'm like, why did the Lakers get the scrappy guy? Like, they don't deserve a scrappy guy like that playing next to like LeBron and AD. But like now that he's on the Bulls, I just love his effort and intensity because you
Hmm.
always know like the Bulls feel undermanned and they always look undersized, but they don't play like it. And he's
Yeah.
like a big reason why. Maybe one of the best defenders in the league.
Oh
Doesn't get
yeah.
talked about enough. And
All
Brunson was
defensive
like on a
easy.
heater. Like can't say enough good things about like what New York's doing, what the Bulls did in that on that game, but
Hmm.
very cool to see.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Feeling excited that the Mavs are not playing in these games now. This is very high stress, dude.
I know. I'm very excited because I mean this game a bit less, but the late night game, the 9-10 game, that's literally just like a game 7 game for
Yeah.
the Bulls right there and the Kings and Warriors last night. So it's definitely like all the ads like playoff mode. Like that's how it feels like, and it's stressful, and I'm excited to see what happens.
It's so interesting. The Heat are still sticking with this 3-2 zone right now.
It's
The
been
Heat have
working.
actually come back a little bit in this first
Hmm.
quarter. It's 2020 right now as the first quarter is winding down and missed three there. But yeah, very tight game here. I think it'll go down to the wire. Um, I do not want to face a healthy Joel Embiid to make it to the playoffs if I'm a Bulls
No,
player right now. So
no
I don't know
way.
what to expect. Like we had like bad juju like losing to Miami Heat like a season ago. Like, we're partially the reason why they went all the way to the finals. Um, and it's either that or Embiid, and that's kind of like pick your poison there. But
Yeah,
I'm not wasting time. Let's talk about the two playing games that we saw yesterday and what we thought about it. Um, Pelicans and Lakers. That did not look good for a hot minute in the second half. Like Lakers just looked like they were completely dominating the game, and then
yeah.
Zion just proved he was him. And all the way up to like 3 or 2 minutes left in that game, I was just on the edge of my seat. I'm like, what's gonna happen now? What's gonna happen now? Like, in my opinion, Zion could have had 50 in this game. But the fact he had 40 and then playing the way he did against AD, against LeBron, no matter who it was, looked absolutely dominant. And in some cases, like, look, Zion's gonna be reckless. I think we talked about this. We were like having a back and forth. And like Zion's gonna be reckless and then like make a ton of bad choices when he goes into the paint, but he makes it right when he just like banks it in. And you're just like,
Hmm.
you don't expect that a guy moving at that speed, like injuring LeBron's elbow and wrist on one
Yeah,
play because of the amount of force he plays with on the court, running full speed to beat like a buzzer in one of the quarters. with a layup. That was sweet to see. And oh my gosh,
No,
oh
yeah.
no, you just
Jimmy
saw it
Jimmy's
too.
on the floor. I think I'm a bit ahead, but I've seen it. He's on the floor,
Uh-huh.
not holding his knee. Kind of scary.
I hope he's okay.
Same.
Yeah, not a good moment there.
Not a great
Um,
moment.
well, trying to keep it on positive news on the good game that happened yesterday. Like that was a fun game. Like
It
to see the
was.
Pelicans come back and like manage that situation. Like that almost felt like they wanted to win that one, and it just let us slip away. And
Hmm.
they did not want to face the Warriors at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, good news for them. They don't have to face the Warriors, but that feels like a game that got away from them. And then also like just odd situations. Like one, the Zion injury like sucked. Like
Yeah.
I get it, it's a hamstring injury, but those like if it's not managed properly, like you could always like re-aggravate hamstring injuries. The risk with that is you don't want to come back too early.
Hmm.
But the good thing is it's not a meniscus, it's not a knee injury,
Yeah.
it's not like an ankle injury even. Like Alvarado like injured both of his ankles
Jeez.
during
Yeah.
that game, and like he still played. Like it was madness. Like I don't know. Like he's sprinting full court on ankles and stuff, and
No, like seeing him like roll his ankle just gave me PTSD. I was like, oh God, don't. I don't even want to think about that
there was
happening.
so much. There was so much that was going wrong for the Pelicans. I feel like too, and
Hmm.
then like McCollum not showing up. It's
Yeah.
not news to me. Like that's something I've always complained about when he's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Like when he was on the
Yeah.
Trailblazers, I didn't really think he was like a two, like Klay Thompson at all. Like that's a completely different level. Like I
Hmm.
thought he was like a great three. I thought he was a great three when he's on the Pelicans, but like Bi was not even playing for the last 6 minutes. That was still odd to
That
me,
was
and like I
crazy.
feel like he should have been there.
A
And
quick update. Jimmy's up shooting free throws right now, so he at least for these free throws looks okay, which is good.
yeah, yeah.
He
I hope
needs
it's
it.
not a Kobe situation where it's just like shooting the free throws and
No,
walking away.
yeah, yeah.
Man,
I don't
that
think so.
that looked nasty. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would agree. I'm proud. I don't want to say I'm proud, but I'm at least like proud a little bit of the Pelicans after getting punched in the mouth, absolutely embarrassed on national TV on uh on Sunday. It at first didn't look like it. I was thinking like, oh, this is kind of slipping away. I don't know how this is, and then
And the
third.
Lakers won 3 of their matchups against this team in the
Hmm.
season.
So they definitely weren't scared, but the Pelicans did. The Pelicans, Zion Williamson put up a fight. Uh, I think a big thing in this game, though, one thing that I think helped them a little bit defensively was Herb Jones is literally seems unscreenable. Uh, you see multiple times him starting off on LeBron or starting off on the ball handler, and then AD comes to screen him. He just slips right by like it's nothing, and it's really refreshing to see. Like again, like we were talking about last week, like wing defenders. Herb is one of the best wing defenders in the league, and you can tell he's the length and activity he possesses to just steal. Uh, I just love the defense I see from him, and that I think was really big in the game yesterday, helping them get some momentum.
Yeah, I saw Butler try him back to the bench. I think he might.
Yeah.
It looks like he might give it a go for the second half, but I don't see him playing in the second quarter. That looks. He doesn't look ready to run right now. But
Hmm. Let's hope
um,
so. Let's hope he's okay.
yeah, I mean, from the yesterday's playing games, the amount of shooting I saw from like the teams I wouldn't expect was crazy. Like Herb
Yeah.
Jones, he's
Herb Jones.
developed his shot a lot. Like Trey Murphy, oh
That
my,
trade
he had like two or three like 3 pointers that was like coming
moon
from the
ball.
parking lot, like
Yeah.
very clutch threes. Like he was playing out of his mind. I felt like he should have got more minutes on that team. Like
Hmm.
just like I heard this on the TNT broadcast, like doing the halftime show.
Hmm.
And then I looked at the Pelicans roster. I don't know why it dawned on me for so long because I'm like, okay, they're doing a great job considering they don't have like a full time point guard on there.
Uh-huh.
They almost need like a Drew Holiday on that team. I think that would be really, really good for them. Like if they
Yeah.
can manage to get Drew Holiday, like they never had a player like him, so I feel like the Pelicans would be set with him. If you didn't
Yeah.
catch the sarcasm there, Drew Holiday started on the Pelicans.
I know that's the funny part for
Unbelievable.
me.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, because they traded him to Milwaukee for
Milwaukee.
like what was it? It was like Eric Bledsoe and picks, I think, which is
Yeah.
kind of wild to think about. And Drew Holiday, I mean, I won't say he's the only reason why they won that championship in 2021, but I mean, getting that huge steal on Devin Booker that really I think swung that series.
Yeah,
God, watching that live was amazing. But anyway, like he was a huge factor there, and now he's another factor on a different Eastern Conference team. So very interesting. Yeah, I mean, any team could use Drew Holiday, guy who can guard 1 through 5. I'm kind of mad he isn't in Defensive Player of the Year conversations because I think he can guard anyone.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too. I mean, but
So,
there's a lot of like great defensive players like that have come up now, like
yeah,
including like
no.
Herb Jones on the same team. Imagine like a backcourt with like, I mean, if Holiday were to come back, like you
hmm
got you got Herb Jones, Holiday, Trey Murphy, then you have Zion, and then Bi, and
Yeah.
then some like the
Jeez.
amount of length and explosiveness on that team. That's just going to be hard to deal with. But
hmm
like I think it was clearly missed that the Pelicans needed a point guard because like everything looked really hard for them. They had
Yeah.
the guys to do it, like with Zion and Bi, to make difficult shots, but
hmm
like I feel like they could have got a lot more efficient looks, get Murphy the ball a lot more. Like I feel like Murphy, I don't know what his shot chart looked like there, how many attempts he had,
I
but I
think he
feel
had
like
10
I
threes.
feel like he didn't shoot it too often. But whenever he did,
No,
like
he didn't have 10 threes. Yeah.
you said 10 shots.
I saw 5 of 10. I don't know if that was threes or shots, but 5 of 10. I'm pretty
That's
sure.
field goals. That's field
Yeah.
goals. He was 2 of 6 from three. I feel like need to bump that up by like 5 more attempts and like speed the game up a little bit. So
Yeah, I
like
mean, he's a good player. One thing I will say is, like, I don't know what commentator said it, and they're like, yes, Trey Murphy at 6'10". I was like, there is no way. I would bet all of the money I'll ever make that he's not 6'10". Because that I was like sitting there just baffled, and I just looked it up. It like Basketball Reference says he's 6'8".
6'8".
Yeah, that's just
But he plays a
completely
lot
out
taller
of
than that,
nowhere.
dude. He's a
Mm,
giant on the court.
long as well. I think that's
Like
a big stat. Like
the
the
thing
plus.
that's weird is like he
hmm
looks like a smaller version of KD,
Mm,
but he doesn't. He's just like a Clay Thompson shooter. Like you
yeah.
kind of don't expect that like kind of consistent shooting out of him. Like when you watch him release the ball, but then like
hmm
when you see like the rotation he gets on it and like how cleanly it hits the net, it's just like he is a shooter. He's a skilled shooter. You better
hmm
watch out. So like
hmm
timely moments by the Pelicans, like Alvarado like taking on the assignments of LeBron sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I almost feel like they're purposely trying to switch Alvarado and LeBron, and like
Mhm.
Pelicans did a good job of, like helping or switching as much as possible. Um, but yeah, compared to that to the first quarter where it seemed like nobody was playing defense for like the first 40 points that was scored, and then the Lakers just turned it on in this second and third quarters and looked like they're about to run away with it. Really impressive to see the Pelicans respond there.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly don't know who's going to win between Pelicans and the Kings. Like that's, I mean, if Zion's not playing, I want to see the Kings, and I
Yeah.
didn't think I'd be saying that because just last week we were down on this team, meaning
Uh-huh.
the Kings, but like
Mhm.
now they
Yeah.
look amazing.
This is true. I mean, I think without Zion, I don't want to say hopeless, but it's gonna be very tough, especially if CJ doesn't spring back into form. I mean,
He has to show up. He
laid
absolutely has to show up.
laid an enormous egg. Like that was just a terrible game for him. And I don't know. You gotta see more of that. And also Bi. I mean, supposedly, like I was also wondering like why is he out? Like is he injured? And like supposedly like what I hear from NBA Twitter, they're just like, oh, he's playing bad. Like the coach, Willie Green benched him because he's not playing well. And sure, I guess, but like I don't know if he's the second best player in your team, the best player. Like I was expecting when Zion went out for him to come in. No, that didn't happen. So it was very weird. I think we both felt the same way about that, but yeah, I
Yeah,
think I think it's gonna
now
be
that I
tough.
think about it, like he did come back from injury like fairly
Mhm.
recently, and the team was on a run without him. So
Yeah.
like from the coach's perspective, I think he was trying to say like, hey, Bi doesn't have as much chemistry or like in the rhythm like
Mhm.
with this unit right now.
It's
So
true.
like from an efficiency standpoint, this might be the best unit to roll out. But if you're looking at like a team like against a LeBron-led Lakers team, you
Yeah.
want as much like
Length.
distractions on offense to worry about. So what I mean by that is you want them to be worried about Trey Murphy. You want them to be worried about um like Bi or like Valanciunas when like Zion's out because like Valanciunas, you saw the physicality of like Zion and Valanciunas just attacking straight at the chest of defenders. Like the
Hmm.
Lakers don't have that on their roster except LeBron. Like he's
Yeah,
probably the most physical player on that team, and then maybe Rui. But like Rui's a little bit undersized to be dealing with like those two Pelican
definitely.
players in specifically. So, um, like I almost felt like you need to have Bi there because like he was playing well defensively. He was playing well offensively. Like this is why you have him on the team and give him the contract that you do
Yeah,
to show up in moments like this. So that was it was just a weird thing to see.
yeah, and I think going along with what you said, like the Pelicans need more distractions. I mean, uh, we saw it at least 3 times in this game. LeBron getting backdoored by Zion, caught ball watching. Now,
Unbelievable.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's getting distracted or if it is just like straight up like ball watching and he's tired, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's tough to see. It's tough to see there. And that's kind of what the Pelicans needed. They needed off ball movement, I think, as well. And we had talked about it before getting hopping on here, is that they don't have a point guard. And that's what they also said in the broadcast, is that like who is the point guard of this team? And the team, like, you notice it because whenever things are in the half court, like they're just like, oh, Zion, you take the ball and you do your thing and we'll figure something out from there. But there's no one else kind of organizing the offense of the team. Yeah.
If I'm the Pelicans, I'm doing whatever I can to like get Derek White from the Celtics because honestly, I've been saying this to the Spurs. I still have no idea why the Spurs traded him to the Celtics.
Yeah.
That
That doesn't
trade
make
would just
sense.
baffle me. And or like if they can get Dejounte Murray, if Atlanta wants to keep like Trey
Interesting.
Young. Either of those two guys are great at like dishing the ball and just
Hmm.
not making it about themselves. Well, okay, Dejounte was probably not the best example of
He's
that,
okay.
but Derek White in particular
No,
kind of
Derek
fits the
White.
description of what I'm thinking. Like
Mhm,
Derek White is great at like making sure the ball moves horizontally from side to side. It
mhm.
gives you that defensive identity because he's great at blocking
He's
shots.
so good at
Um,
defense.
so you don't lose anything defensively by
Mhm,
plugging him in your roster, and you get the efficient offensive ball movement with him that you can guarantee. And he'll set up guys like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, the rotation guys to get more attempts, more chance to get more efficient with 3 point shooting. Wow, great
mhm.
steal.
Yeah, I think especially well, one thing I think is that like Derek White before he got on the Celtics, I feel like we all were just like, oh, Derek White's just a dude. Like he's kind of like a Tyus Jones type of player. That's just like, yeah, he's a good player. That's it. And so I feel like once he got to the Celtics, especially last year in the conference finals against the Heat, he kind of blossomed as completely different player that no one's expecting. And I think that's why it's just like maybe even the Spurs. I mean, you'd hope Greg Popovich knew what he was handling there with him, but maybe they didn't even know what he could be as in this like huge part of a great team. But
Mm,
yeah, very interesting. Dejounte would be interesting as well. I don't know what they're doing there, especially as like a third option. I think of him as being incredible because we've seen he's not that efficient as the guy on that Hawks team without Trey the past few weeks. And his
yeah,
defense, I remember like especially being less of an offensive force, he can focus more on the defensive end, which I remember in San Antonio, I think he was a steals leader one year. So
he was insane in San
yeah,
Antonio. Like,
like that.
but I mean, like the same thing with Derek White though. I feel like he blossomed because of the presence of like Jason Tatum, and then Jalen Brown, then you add Kristaps Porzingis and like
Yeah.
Drew Holiday to that. All of a sudden, like Derek White's the weak link, but he's playing a lot better when he's playing around these four guys, and
Hmm.
he's made it so that there's no weak link on the Celtics, and when you see that starting lineup, and I feel like with Zion and Bi there,
Hmm.
and what McCollum's supposed to be as a third option, like Derek White's not going to be asked to do as much, so like he can focus on like making sure like the ball is kept moving from side to side and
Yeah.
whatnot. And that's gonna help Zion get easier looks.
Hmm.
Bi get less like contested looks because he's trying to get to his mid range spots, and then it's gonna open up the floor for everybody
Yeah.
because of the ball movement. Just simple movement, swinging the ball to the other side is gonna work wonders for this Pelicans team. And it's kind of like they need to work on the organized basketball because in transition, this team is very good, and
Mhm.
in the half court they're limited. That's the issue with them. And especially with a team like the Lakers that like led the league by a mile in free throw
Yeah.
attempts, you're not going to get many opportunities to get in the fast break. It's going to mostly be in the half court because they get the chance to set their defense after a free throw
Mhm.
attempt. So like getting a guy like Derek White who can offer more variables in the half court offense is going to unlock more things for the Pelicans.
Yeah. One thing with like Derek White being on the team, I love Derek White. Always makes the right play. But one thing I would worry about if like I guess this is the issue of having a point guard and then taking the ball out of Zion's hands is you kind of come up to another like Ben Simmons dilemma of what does Zion do without the ball? And yeah, like backdoor cutting or whatnot. But like he's not a great shooter. Like him without the ball is a lot less scary than him having the ball. And I think that's a big reason why the Pelicans really had a lot of firepower in that last run where Zion has the ball, he's driving or he has the ball. Trey Murphy comes to like go screen or like tap the screen and then move to run to the 3 point line. If two guys focus on Zion, pass to Trey. If they focus on Trey, he's got a lane. So that's the only thing is, and we've seen it also with Booker, like Booker trying to be that point guard, and you've seen how bad it's been in the fourth quarter getting organized. So it's definitely interesting. It's like a debate, I guess. We would say is like what is the sort of perfect balance there. And I do still think they need a point guard. It's just kind of devil's advocate, being like, oh, but what if this could happen, But
I think
interesting.
this is kind of like a Mavs conversation too. We're
Yeah.
thinking about like, oh, what if Luca had like a running partner and forced to play faster?
Hmm.
I feel like a good coach, and I think Willie Green's a great coach
Oh
with
yeah.
how he's used his talent. Um, barring the BI thing, that BI thing was
Mhm.
weird,
Yeah,
but
it was
I
weird.
think like what a lot of what they did with Zion is like as soon as they got the ball and the Lakers were like daring him to shoot threes, and he shot
Hmm.
like two or three times before like he just stops and was like, forget it, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
drive to the paint. Um, they what the Pelicans would do a lot is like make sure Zion gets the ball off of like dribble handoffs and like making sure like Valanciunas would set high screen and rolls. So
Hmm.
I would imagine that's the case, or like the a play you would draw up with like Trey Murphy. That's a perfect idea. I don't see how adding Derek White would change an action like that
Hmm.
because you could just put him on like the weak side of the court, like Derek White on
Yeah.
the weak side of the court. Run that action with like Trey Murphy. Like making sure like I think LeBron said this on Mind the Game last week. One thing that he loves running in his offense is making sure he has a strong side
Hmm.
shooter to
Yeah.
his side of the court wherever he's at. And that way and basically force a 3-on-2 on the weak
Oh
side
yeah.
of the court. That's
Hmm.
something I think Zion can end up doing from time to time. Not saying he should become LeBron, but
Yeah.
that's like an action where it's going to help out his game because it's going to help with him learning to make good decisions without forcing the ball because he got Trey Murphy to one side of him, or he
Hmm.
could pass it to Herb Jones, like a BI, or like Derek White or something like that in the small ball lineup. And they have an advantage now where they can make the right decisions. And I think you can tinker with lineups of that because as much as LeBron has like improved his 3 point shooting, and he shot like 40%, I think, this season, which is
Yeah.
insane at the
Higher
age
than
that he's
Steph
shooting.
Curry. Yeah, he shot better than Steph Curry from deep.
I would not put that on my bingo card at
Yeah.
all. But like LeBron doesn't want to shoot the ball. That's
Hmm.
not what he's named as like made a living out of his career. He wants to dominate the rim. He wants to catch the ball and like get a mismatch and then just drive the ball and use his overwhelmingly big shoulders to like barrel through somebody
Yeah.
and get a layup or a dunk. And I think Zion from time to time has to adopt that mindset and just accept the fact that okay, I can work on my shooting slowly, but like to the meantime, these are what I have to do. I have to be patient with my looks and get my other teammates involved to make sure they're hot, and then evolve this game from there. Like look at Giannis has slowly been building towards that, and people are still playing off of him because they rather have him shoot than dominate the rim. But
Yeah.
I would look at guys like how LeBron dominates, Giannis dominates, because they have very similar play styles to Zion. They're not
Hmm.
as quick off the bounce like he is. Um, so like Zion's different there, but like there's some similarities in like how he can still dominate at the rim that he can emulate, I guess.
No, yeah, like slasher. Like they're all in a big group of slashers. but like obviously like all fingers are thumbs, but not all thumbs or no, what is it? Some all thumbs are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs type of deal.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So like LeBron obviously is a different kind of slasher than Giannis, who's a different kind of slasher than Zion, but they're all still like they like to get downhill. And I think a big thing for Zion is learning how to pass, and he has some of those abilities, but then being able to really expand that's going to help him just overall in the game and make him a lot scarier. That you can't double him, making the rest of his game easier. So yeah.
Absolutely. Um, so Lakers move on.
Yep. To
Pelicans,
play the
we have to wait
Nuggets.
to see like how they fare against the Kings.
Hmm.
But do you think the Lakers can not get swept by the Nuggets next round?
Not get swept. I'm hopeful that they don't get swept. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they got swept, but I could see them winning a game, especially at LA. In LA, at home. But and then like there's a quote going around where basically like, the whole trash talk stuff from Denver, especially after winning those Western Conference finals, the chance from the crowd being who's your daddy to LeBron. Like uh there's I think it was from an interview recently where they're like, I don't know who was LeBron or AD saying like, yeah, we heard that and we're ready to come back now. Like, well, this is something we've been waiting for all season. And I like the energy, but like I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Jokic is still unguardable. I mean, AD kind of I don't want to say he got punked by Zion, but AD couldn't do much to stop Zion. What's he gonna do to stop most likely the MVP of the league, unfortunately, this year?
I mean, I hope it's Luca. I put my bet in for Luca.
I mean,
I'm gonna
I
make
do
a
too.
bag if I get that.
Yeah. We were talking about this could be great, but yeah, the straw poll kind of killed it. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll go six.
Yeah.
I think it goes six because I think the Nuggets will get one on the road, but
Hmm.
I think at least for the first 4 games, I think it'll be a 2-2 series. I think the personnel of the Lakers is a lot better. Like
Really.
we didn't even talk about Gabe Vincent. Like to me, he looked like an energizer buddy for the Lakers on the point guard spot, like defensively.
Hmm.
Because as much as like D'Angelo Russell was like killing it from 3 point range, I think he had like 5 or 6 threes like
Yeah. Like
yesterday,
five
which
of
was
11.
insane.
Mm.
Yeah, like he was just on fire. And but like Gabe Vincent was like actually having an effect on the game. Like you could see him like affecting the Pelicans,
Hmm.
like no matter who he was on. And I think that might be an important thing to take note of. Like when you have like a Jamal Murray, you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't stop Jokic, but who's to say like the Lakers just focus on everybody else? Like put LeBron on Gordon, make sure Gordon doesn't get those backside dunks and whatnot, and then
Hmm.
keep Vincent on Jamal Murray, and make sure he locks up there, and then maybe start Rui and like have him just focus on like preventing the Michael Porter threes that just
Yeah.
seemingly come out of nowhere, and press your luck and see if KCP and Jokic could beat you. I could see them take a strategy like that,
Hmm.
and this is not me like discrediting the Nuggets at all after what they've done and whatnot. I'm
No.
just saying like when you look at the Lakers offseason moves and what their potential was, like winning the in-season tournament and dominating the way they were against the Pelicans the last 2 games with explosive players like Zion and Valanciunas there. I think they might be better equipped to deal with the Nuggets. But after all that said, I would pick the Nuggets in six.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just so hard not to pick these guys. And even though yes, they've lost who they Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, it's kind of scary how good Peyton Watson has been on the defensive end.
Yeah.
Uh like in that game against the Timberwolves, he went off and it was nasty. The block, like he had 5 blocks in that game. So it's scary how these young guys are playing really well for the Nuggets. So
They
I
still have Christian Brown too.
mhm. And then one thing about Gabe Vincent, just I think that's the first time I watched him play on the Lakers this whole year. So it felt really weird to me
He hasn't
when
played that much. He's played like maybe 10 games, I think, all season.
barely anything. So it could be interesting. I mean, I'm down for the Lakers to win. A lot of podcasts are saying like, or the Hoop Collective, like Brian Windhorst, they're like, if there's any time for the Lakers to beat the Nuggets, it's this because they have a lot of rest. They have basically what they played last night on Tuesday, and they don't play I think till Sunday or Saturday.
Wow.
So that's a few days, and that's I mean that's what they need. AD, LeBron, two players that have a tendency to get injured. Thankfully, not so much this year. So yeah, if they have a good chance, this is their chance, and I think they should take it.
Yeah, no, fair point there. Tyler Hero bricked out a three, but Miami's still up by 8. So,
Yeah, they
um,
kind of went on a run. I like I said, I don't like zone. On Monday, like I couldn't play in our like league game, but the other team started to play like a 2-3 zone, and you can only play zone if you actually know what you're doing. If you're actually telling your guys to still see ball, see man, and don't get caught ball watching. Because if you do get caught ball watching, it's just layups, easy threes, and
and the easy
if you're
spot to do it is like just take a backdoor cut from the corner
mm,
because, like, especially if you're in the back line of a 2-3 zone, like you're never watching the corner and the backside
yeah.
cuts and whatnot. So,
And especially in those zones, this isn't the zone that the Heat run. I think they like to run a 1-3-1 zone because then you eliminate the like that middle gap where like it's the first thing you think of 2-3 zone. You get a big guy in the middle, and then from there someone has to get up on him. Then all the movement, too much coaching lingo, but yeah.
yeah, I don't know where we were going with that, but as far as like the Lakers and the Nuggets matchup, I think it'll be a lot closer.
Mhm,
I actually think, well, I'm gonna save my pick for the Pelicans and Kings, so after the Kings and Pelicans, but it's not looking too good with Zion
yeah,
being out. So I want to wait and see like how he looks before I make my final prediction.
mhm,
But that's gonna be a great game.
yeah. No, there will be. I'm excited.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about the Kings looking really impressive, beating the Warriors. I if you told me Klay Thompson was not gonna have any points the entire game, I'd have been like, go ahead and bet that you're going to lose money. And I would have
Yeah,
looked like a fool. And then, like, if you told me Steph Curry had 5 points in the first half, I would have again said, go ahead and bet that. I think you're crazy. And I would have looked like a fool again. So the Kings did an excellent job on the
hmm
Warriors. I feel like Keon Ellis had more than like 15 points because it looked like he was just like draining threes out of
hmm
like anywhere
Good
and like
defense.
having an impact on the game, getting steals. Like
hmm
he looks like a real player, man. And
Yeah,
if like the Kings don't re-sign him, some
that's.
like he's a high priority free agent to me. Like
hmm
like that guy can play. He should be in the two spot, and I get it. They have Malik Monk on that team. Um, he couldn't play, and then there was one other shooting guard I
Herder.
couldn't think of right now. A Herder, yeah, those are two big names. I think Ellis is better than both of them, to be honest.
Mm,
He played like it. He played so consistent yesterday, and I'm
hmm
just like, how do you not take this guy out of the starting lineup? And he wasn't even the leading scorer. Neither was Fox. Neither was a bonus. It was Keegan Murray,
Keegan
and
Murray, he was balling.
Keegan Murray, like he looked like Clay Thompson, like the way he was like driving and like hitting floaters and like
Mhm.
shooting threes the way he was. He looked like a secondary first option. Like
Yeah.
the Kings look really scary right now, and I'm just sitting here like, where is this like all season as far as like the consistency?
Mhm.
They look great. Sabonis looks like a new player. Like I'm in utter shock when I watch this team against the Warriors.
Yeah. Some things from what you said, I would say I don't know if I would say offensively, Keon Ellis is definitely not as good as Kevin Herter and Malik Monk, but it's the defense I feel like because yeah, they're those other two guys are good defenders, but I don't know if they're the same type of lockdown that Keon kind of gave in that game last night. And then the Clay Thompson thing, I don't know, man. This has been his like he's still averaging a good amount of points, like 18 something points per game. Shooting, I think he's the highest free throw percentage in the league.
You're talking
But
about Murray or Clay Thompson?
no, Clay Thompson.
Okay.
Uh, like even though he's averaging this, like it just feels like for Clay, it's such a bad season, and I don't know. I
But
I
we've
don't
been
want to say
saying this
I'm.
for 2 seasons now with this guy.
That's true.
Like
Well,
it's just like we were so used to Clay being consistent as far as like shooting the rock,
mhm,
and he's clearly not consistent anymore.
yeah.
It's not like it's not like he can't do it. He can. He can shoot well. You're just not getting that on an every night basis, and
Yeah.
it's really a dangerous thing if I'm the Warriors to try and balance that.
I think a big thing is just it's hard to not see Clay Thompson and not see the guy that drained 14 like threes in like 2018. Like it
And
just
I think that was against the Kings too.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
like
crazy.
it's just hard to and I guess that like we're all getting old. Clay Thompson's getting old. It's like it's hard to like let go of that thought. And like same with like the Steph Curry and LeBron, like they're generational first ballot Hall of Famers. And it's hard to say like, oh, they
Oh my
might like Steph
gosh,
Curry
he
lost
was
by three.
3.
Yeah.
They're up by 11 now.
No, no, they're
That
cooking.
was deadly.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen to Clay if he's gonna stay, if he's gonna go somewhere else. I don't want him on the Mavs to be honest, because he's just off the timeline. Like he going through all these injuries, it's just gonna be tough. It's not gonna be an easy road for him after this. He's still gonna get paid. He's
If
still
he if he's
probably gonna
playing a
go.
bench role, would you still want him on a team?
Ben Troll I could see, but I don't know. He just I can't get over the fact that that guy is not the Clay that I imagine when I say Clay Thompson, and it's just tough to accept. So that's one thing. Keegan Murray as well, just going crazy. He had of the first 15 points the Kings had, he had 11 of them to
Yeah, I
start
saw
that
that.
game.
Like,
That was
I
nasty.
think when he scored their first 9 points, like, it was just
Mhm.
like, "Oh, another 3 by, like, Keegan Murray," like the
Yeah.
announcer saying, and I was just, like, looking at my phone, like, watching the game on my phone, I was just like, "Bro, he has all their points so far. He's keeping them in this game, and the game just started."
Mhm.
That's how good he was. Like, it was unbelievable because, like, without him, the Kings would have
Would have
struggled
flopped.
starting
Yeah.
out the gate, yeah, and the
Especially
Warriors are
him.
such a confidence-based team
Mhm.
that if the Warriors, like, held the Kings scoreless for the first 2 minutes, the Warriors probably would have won that game
Yeah.
because once the Warriors got you in the vice grip, it's over, especially with Steph Curry's on the other side of it, and
Mhm.
the thing you keep seeing with these Kings is they won't back down. Sabonis looked a lot different than the playoff series, like,
Mhm.
last year.
More
He looks like a
aggressive.
better player. He had a nice no-look dime to Keon Ellis for 3.
Oh
That
yeah.
was nice to see, um, and I mean, Steph Curry tried to bring them back. Like, well, he hit a couple threes when like the Warriors were down 1 early in the third quarter,
Mhm.
and it was like, oh no, this is the Steph Curry's coming back. He's erupting, and it just never materials like that. Like, I will say this about the Warriors though: Pojenski's looked nice all season.
Mhm.
Moses Moody and Jonathan Kaminga
Was booty.
do not look like the players they looked like last year at
Yeah.
all. Kuminga especially looks impressive. He has a nice offensive bag. Moody is a great 3-point shooter.
Mhm.
Like, I would love to see how they continue to grow. Like, they have a nice future there. Another thing on the bingo card I thought I wouldn't be saying. Draymond hitting 2 threes. Like,
Yeah. That was
where was that coming from? I did not expect that at all. And they look like great threes entirely. And I'm just like, Draymond, if you just kept this up consistently, you would have like the Warriors could have had more chips by now. I feel like so
mm,
like it's just. I mean, I wasn't expecting Draymond to hit 2 threes, so just wanted a quick comment on that. But
yeah.
um, even though the Warriors, to me, they disappointed because like I didn't feel like they were a 10th seed,
Mhm.
maybe because of the prestige and like how they played rankings wise, but throughout the whole season and throughout their dynasty, and especially the late run they were on, it feels like a very weird end to the season for them,
Yeah.
but they have a bright future. There's no question about that.
I agree. I think one thing everyone is talking about this, but it's hard not to look at it. It's just like Draymond missed 20 games, almost a quarter of the season, and the Warriors did not play well without him. Imagine if he hadn't gotten suspended. Even if he hadn't gotten suspended twice, just once, it would have been a different situation with how packed this West was. And like I like Moses Moody especially as well because I don't think he's been getting enough minutes because no matter how many minutes he gets, he's always just a good defender, a guy that you can get the ball to wide open or slightly contested. He's going to drain that three. He's a very calm, collected player, and Kuminga as well. He's improved so much this year, and I've enjoyed that. But I think it's so difficult for the Warriors. Like, yeah, you have Steph, but no one else can really create on this team, right? And especially when Steph's getting hounded by like I don't know 6'8" Keegan Murray for the whole game. Like that's got to take the wind out of you, and it's just tough. Like I just don't know what the Warriors do from here. Uh,
I
what
do think
can
they need to like. I think they were hoping for Looney to be like a better center, like
hmm
all season that they could use the full time center because like when I saw like Tyrion Davis Price, I think is his name, as a center,
uh, Trace
and
Jackson Davis?
what the heck? Okay, I don't
Yeah.
know where I pull that name from, but clearly that wasn't right. I thought I maybe it was like some guy from LSU I was thinking of, or maybe I just made that name on the fly, butchered his name entirely. Um, you said Tracy Jackson Davis,
Yeah. I just call him TJD because I'm not saying all that, bro.
TJD. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that there. That caught me off guard entirely. Clearly, I don't even know the Warriors center. I think it's clear where I'm going with this. I think they need better center play. I
hmm
that's like a good like that's a good start for them.
I mean,
Still thinking about that.
that's
That's,
been the problem
um,
forever, right?
if he's ever watching this, I apologize. That was not intentional. I watched it yesterday, but I just didn't remember the name. But I think when they screwed up with a James Wiseman pick,
Yeah.
like, and it's hard to say because I thought James Wiseman would
Yeah.
be a really good player. Like that was just an odd thing that happened, the trade and everything. Because I'm like, why are you letting go James Wiseman like that? Like,
hmm
it just
The two timelines. Yeah.
for yeah for whatever reason they've never like got the center position right, except for like DeMarcus Cousins, and
But
but they didn't
even that
really
didn't work.
like that worked for a bit until like
Mm.
he kept getting suspended, and then it's like they need they need a better center, um, and I don't know who that is yet, but I think that might help this team develop like from the inside out more. So
Mhm.
like now you're like high screen pick and rolls for Curry are a lot more dangerous. Because
Yeah.
imagine like Andre Drummond on the Golden State Warriors. Now
Mhm.
that is something to be worried about, even if Drummond cannot shoot from outside,
No, yeah.
because of the presence he brings on the rebounding side. He gives you another body that could, like Kevon Looney was like being monstrous at as far as
Mhm.
rebounding. But like now you got a better center than Kevon Looney, and you can bring Kevon Looney off the bench, still get that rebounding energy, and suddenly this team looks alive because the more chances you give this team to shoot, the better they look as well.
Mhm.
And if I'm the Warriors, I would focus there. Is like I wouldn't try to replicate Clay Thompson,
No,
and if they
that's
decide to
too
let go of
difficult.
Green, I wouldn't try to re- replace that. I would try to like identify where our weaknesses are with building the roster in general. How do I build around Steph? Because it's
Yeah.
gonna look different with Steph like running the show without Clay Thompson or Draymond Green if they choose to go that route. I have no idea what's going to happen in the offseason for this team, but that's just that's just a position that they've always struggled with, even while they were winning championships.
Yeah.
That I think it's something they should try to improve on.
No, definitely. I just yeah, I'm not sure where they can get that from. I mean, even this draft class is nothing too crazy, so trade like you hear things of like them trying to get away from Andrew Wiggins, who also kind of laid an egg last night as well. Like, what can they do? Trade Wiggins with some young guys. You possibly have to lose one of those guys, TJD, Pajemski, Moody, or even Kuminga in that trade. So, and you have to make sure you're getting something reasonable back, maybe a center, maybe an actual, but like a better forward slash guard or power forward. So yeah,
Yeah, remains to be seen like where the Warriors team goes from here. Um, as far as the Kings go, how do you think they fare off against the Pelicans if Zion plays? Who do you think wins that matchup?
I'd say it's hard. I would say still the Kings, just because now you have a bit more length on Zion and a bit more energy on Zion as well. Instead of like having LeBron needing to guard him, I think Keegan is a better defender at this point, and he's gonna punish him on the other side if Zion guards him as well. And also like Sabonis as well. Like who guards Sabonis? Valanciunas. Valanciunas might lock him up like in the half court, being in the
But he
middle
doesn't
of the
have the agility that
yeah,
Sabonis does.
yeah. Sabonis is smaller, quicker, strong. I don't know about stronger, but definitely maybe a bit more aggressive. Jonas Valanciunas is not a good defender, if that's what you're thinking. He's big, he's not a good defender. So,
They were trying to out physical like Anthony Davis, and it was like
mhm,
a good
yeah,
idea in a vacuum, but
mhm,
like Davis is way more athletic, and there's a reason they brought in Larry Nance like off the
mhm.
bench
Small
like
ball.
early in that game because like Valanciunas brings certain problems defensively. Like he's a very
Yeah,
like matchup dependent guy. Like he's a poor man's Marc Gasol in my opinion that can't
very
shoot as
poor
well
man.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, very poor man. Um, no offense, no offense.
No,
Kind of offensive. Um, but with the healthy Zion, I'm gonna say the Pelicans here for a lot of the reasons you've
really.
mentioned because like I feel like with Herb Jones and
True.
like
Herb
Keegan
on
Murray
five.
2.0 with like Trey Murphy, like the Pelicans also have length, and then you
It's
think
true.
about Bi playing, hopefully getting some minutes again. Like they have the length to deal with De'Aaron Fox to counteract his speed a little bit,
Mhm,
and like the other players around the Kings, like I think they could stop the 3-pointer shots from the Kings a lot better
mhm.
than what the Warriors could do. So I would I'm not opposed to saying the Pelicans, but that's like with a healthy Zion because
Yeah.
Zion is also like a force that's going to be hard to guard for anybody on the Kings. Like
Mhm.
I feel like the Kings weren't really worried about like the bigs of the Warriors,
No,
and
no.
that allowed their wings to play a lot more aggressive defensively. Um, with the Pelicans, you cannot do that because Zion is just an entire beast you're not ready for.
Mhm.
And I don't know who's the answer on that side of the ball. Like maybe
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley from 2 years ago. Good luck with that even. Like the Kings don't have it on their roster
No,
unless like
yeah.
Sabonis just like suddenly turns into like white Draymond. Like I don't know.
White Draymond, yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not really partial to either of them. And either way, either way, I don't think that either has much. Hmm, I was gonna say they don't have much chance against the Thunder, but like they both have big guys that I
I mean,
don't
if
think
it's the
the Thunder.
Pelicans and if it's the Pelicans, I give them a puncher's chance
Yeah, because
because of
who guards
Zion.
Zion? Like Chet Holmgren's gonna get like
But
moved.
the thing that puts me over the top with the Thunder is
Hmm.
like neither team is going to be able to guard SGA and Chet at
True.
the same time. Like
Yeah.
maybe you could shut down Chet if you're the Pelicans, maybe.
Hmm.
But then what about SGA?
Yeah.
You're going to have to play Alvarado 40 minutes for
Hmm.
like 5 games, and then hope he's alive after like two like swollen ankles like
Yeah.
from the Lakers game. Like that's what are you doing to your player? Like they don't have that in the lineup right now.
Hmm.
Um, so
Definitely.
I agree with you. I think the Thunder beat both of those teams anyway. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's good. It's a very interesting Western Conference. I did not expect the Warriors to be out this early for sure.
Yeah. No, me neither. Definitely surprising.
And I think the Sixers and the Heat are at halftime right now. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna give Diego a reprieve and then let him enjoy the last half of that game. And we'll be here next week to recap that. But
Awesome.
before I let you go, what are your predictions for tonight? Who do you think wins
Uh
in either game?
Sixers, Bulls. I don't like the Heat as much. I don't like the Hawks. So let's do it. That's
Very nuanced, analytical take there. I see you.
all you
I
need.
think at this point it's probably going to be the Heat that win this one. And then you know what? I'm going to be biased. The Bulls are going to win this one because I know they're going to lose one of these games, one of these playing
Hmm.
games, and I think they're going to lose to the Sixers when they play next to each other. Even though I hate the Sixers
Yeah.
and I want the Bulls to beat the Sixers so badly, but I don't know how you're going to guard Joel Embiid, and that's even if you get past Dejounte Murray, Trey Young, and Clint
Hmm.
Capella. Like
Yeah.
Clint Capella is going to be a problem for Vucevic, so I'm just like hoping that like Kobe White scores 30, DeRozan scores like 40, and then
I
like the
mean,
Sunmu scores like 20, and then
yeah.
that somehow we win. So
The Hawks don't play a lot of defense, so there's some hope there.
yeah, we'll see there. But like Sixers, I don't think they're going to lay an egg like they did in the first half here.
Mm-hmm.
against the Bulls. Like
No,
that's
man,
we've had
definitely.
our problems with Embiid throughout the season. So
Everyone
I've
has.
learned my lesson enough to temper my expectations. So
Makes sense.
even if we do somehow win both games as a Bulls fan,
Mm-hmm.
we are not beating the Celtics. Like we're probably losing in five at like nice as I can be, but who knows?
Makes sense.
Alrighty, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. It's the first time I think we covered
Good.
50 minutes talking about two games,
Yeah,
but
that's
really
kind of
exciting
wild.
stuff. Um, Diego was pointing to our
I do it real quick.
tag right there for iman.a.mission on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube at Iman Emission. That's three words there. Feel free to subscribe, give us a like, give us some comments on like who you think is going to advance to the playoffs on the eastern side of the ball. Now that we almost figure it out. Three more games to go, or actually four more games
Yeah.
to go. But should be exciting stuff. And you guys take it easy. Enjoy the playoffs.
Yeah. Have a good time.
See ya.
See ya.